What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Another video means another dopamine high because I buy something that feels something, and today we're back at it with another review, but this just isn't your ordinary review. We're reviewing quite a special figure, and that is 1000 Toys Noble 6, and this is actually my first time reviewing a 1000 Toys figure. Now, this isn't the first 1000 Toys figure to enter my collection. That goes to the Halo Infinite Master Chief, so this is actually my second 1000 Toys figure to enter my collection, but nonetheless, this is the first 1000 Toys review on the channel, so hopefully I do this figure justice. And if I'm going to be completely honest with you, 1000 Toys making all of Noble Team was not on my bingo card. I know for 1000 Toys and Halo, it felt like Combat Evolved Chief and Halo Infinite Chief were just kind of one-off figures, so I was not expecting for them to actually do a full team from the franchise, and I'm glad it is Noble Team. And I do plan on getting all of Noble Team, and for those who know the price of these figures, it is a very, very expensive venture that I am putting myself through. My wallet will be screaming by the last figure that does come out, but at any point during or after the video you do realize you want to pick up this figure for yourself, good luck, because the only place I could find that you could actually pick this figure up from is eBay, because everywhere has this figure sold out or just flat out no longer available for sale, and the places where he is sold out, I don't know if they're ever going to restock him. 1000 Toys site, he goes for 200 flat, out of stock. SIDESHOW Collectibles, $195, has you on a wait list. Entertainment Earth for $189.99, out of stock. Big Bad Toy Store for $194.99, also out of stock and just flat out unavailable on Amazon. So I will put a link in the description of the video to eBay. I'm just going to search up 1000 Toys Noble 6 and then just use that link. All the results may vary. I don't know. Be careful for knockoffs or people who are just trying to take your money. But this figure is really hard to come by. I'm very glad I was able to pick him up when I could, especially because I am going to be reviewing the exclusive version. So again, very grateful for that. But with all this rambling now out of the way, let's move on to opening up this bad boy. So starting off with the packaging, and we have a nice big old photo of Noble 6 with the exclusive edition sticker right on the front with the title of the figure, and then moving over to the side of the packaging, and all we really have is the Halo Reach title. On the back we have a bunch of mumbo jumbo, and then the Xbox and 343 Industries logo, and then on the side we have the Halo Reach logo once again. Not really a lot going on with this packaging, but that is fine because that is not the focus of the video. And the first thing that we get access to besides the figure itself is this instruction manual, and it just goes over every little thing features and accessories wise with this figure, and I will be showing this a little more in depth in the features and accessories segment of the video, so I'm not going to go too in depth right now with it. And on the back we do get a display of everything that should be included with our figure, including the exclusive edition visor, which I do have, so very grateful for that. And with that said, let's get into the figure. Starting off this segment with a fun fact about the figure's appearance. It's actually based off of Noble 6's beta design of Halo Reach, and this is because he has the brim on the top of his helmet, whereas for the final cut of the game, his final appearance would have his helmet without the brim. So the more you know. So right out of the box, this figure does look amazing. This level of quality is to be expected from 1000 Toys because of how high they set the bar when it comes to their figures. And starting off with that visor, I'm so glad I picked up the exclusive version because that reflection looks amazing. And then from the sculpt work, nailing the multiple layers and lines on his armor, from the bits of text seen on his chest, shoulders, and legs, and they even got down some details on his undersuit with some lines and layers. I just believe 1000 Toys absolutely killed it translating Noble 6's in-game appearance into figure form. And my only criticism towards this figure is that I wish 1000 Toys gave Noble 6 some weathering, some grit, some level of character onto his armor, because that is a very pivotal thing in Halo Reach's aesthetic, is how everything is gritty and dirty, worn and used, and it looks like for this figure Noble 6 just walked off the factory floor. So I really wish 1000 Toys did give this figure that grit, that wear and tear that we see in Halo Reach. But don't get me wrong, besides that, I still think at the end of the day this is a really good looking figure, just a little too clean for me. So getting into the articulation and starting off in the head area, we can rotate the head 360 degrees, and then we have some good range when it comes to looking up and down, and the same could be said about the range when you sway his head side to side. And with those three ranges of motion at play, the head can move in a spherical range of motion, but the neck can also articulate back and forth as well. And we can also get some side to side action with the neck, and we can also get a spherical range of motion with the neck on this figure, giving us some of the best neck articulation that I've seen on a figure. And then getting into the arm articulation, we can rotate the arms 360 degrees in an up and over motion, and the shoulder joint can also be spun 360 degrees. And then we have this nice pivot joint that allows for Noble 6 to bring his arms even further forward, or you can have him bring his arms back even more, enhancing the range in the shoulder area. And then we can spin the elbow 360 degrees. And as for the elbow bend itself, it is phenomenal. I love how far the forearm goes. By no means are you getting a full shoulder tap, but it goes way past the 90-degree mark, which is all I ask for in my figures when it comes to their elbow bends. And then finally, you can spin the hand 360 degrees and bend the wrist however you please. And then taking it to the torso, and you can't actually rotate the torso 360 degrees. There is a range of motion that is pretty decent, but it's weird to think that a company like Thousand Toys doesn't include 360 degrees rotation of the torso, seeing that almost everyone else does. But then we can have Noble 6 sway back and forth a decent amount, and the same could be said about the range for swaying him side to side. And even if you can't rotate the torso 360 degrees, we can still get a nice spherical range of motion from all the articulation that we do have in the torso area. And around the waist, there is a piece of adjustable armor that can move to Noble 6's torso or leg movement, which I think is really nice, so the waist armor isn't affecting either of those areas' range of motion, which is the perfect transition into leg articulation. And we can rotate the leg 360 degrees, and we can also pivot the thigh of Noble 6, and we are granted some pretty decent range. And as for the splittage, by no means is it a full split, but the range is good nonetheless. And we also get a really good knee bend out of this figure. By no means are we doing butt kicks, but we can still have enough range to display our figure in a variety of action or running poses. And then for the boot, we can obviously rotate it 360 degrees and bend the ankle however we please, but we can also articulate the toes, and there's a piece of armor that moves with them so they aren't restricted. And just like with the visual presentation, I am beyond happy with the articulation on this figure. I did think it was a little weird that you can't rotate the torso 360 degrees, but it's not the end of the world because the range that we are given is good at the end of the day. But nothing feels too loose or too tight, everything feels fluent. I'm just blown away with everything that Thousand Toys put into the articulation for this figure. Every part of the body feels accounted for. No two body parts clash with each other. Everything just feels great. I couldn't ask for a more well articulated figure from Thousand Toys. So with starting this segment off, Noble 6 comes with a bunch of swappable hands, 5 pairs in total, giving us 10 hands. We get closed fists, energy sword hands, we get trigger fingers, we get holding hands, and this kind of open palm expressive pair of hands. And before I show off the weapons included with this figure, there is this panel on the back that can be removed. You have to have tweezers or something thin to kind of get it off, but when you do remove it, there is a peg hole, so if you want to display any of the weapons on your figure's back, you can do so. I figured I'd just show this now, so when I show both weapons pegs off, you already know how to put it onto the figure's back. Getting into our first weapon, and we have the assault rifle, and just like with the figure itself, Thousand Toys was able to put tons of detail into this accessory, which is really nice to see, especially since Halo Reach's assault rifle is probably the most busy looking one. It doesn't have the traditional smooth look that all the other Halos have for their assault rifle. This one is very busy. There's a lot of parts going on, and they did sculpt that down, like the charging handle, the switches by the magazine, the safety, the ejection port with its cover. Those are the more niche details, but obviously things like the ammo counter, the barrel, the flashlight, the gas tube, things that are more noticeable on the assault rifle, they got down perfectly as well. And just like with the sculpt work, the paint job, they absolutely killed. I love the variation of the grays that we see on it. It's just like how it is in game. Obviously they gave us the iconic yellow stripe, and they even colored in the ammo counter. There is no numbers in there, but at least the screen is blue. And then finally, if you want to display this rifle on Noble 6's back, you can. There is this peg on the side, and honestly, this is probably one of my more favored ways of having the peg on the rifle. Yeah, it isn't like McFarlane or Jazzwares where the peg is removable, but Thousand Toys did go out of their way to kind of put it inside of the rifle, so it's somewhat discreet and doesn't completely interrupt the design of the assault rifle. And you know, the peg isn't going to go anywhere, so you're not going to lose it because it's always going to be on the rifle. I don't know if this is a hot take or a cold take or whatever, but I just personally like this design choice by Thousand Toys. And then getting into the second weapon that is included if you got the exclusive edition, and that is the rocket launcher, aka the Spanker. And just like with the assault rifle, Thousand Toys was sure to get down as much detail as they possibly could, from the center area that connects the two tubes together to the housing unit that holds the tubes, to the exhaust at the end, to the shoulder mount, and of course the handle. There's just so much going on with this design that they got down, and I just love it. And of course the paint job complements this weapon's design, from the variations of gray throughout the weapon, the black that kind of pops and highlights some of the more technical pieces, and then of course we have the yellow that really shines, especially when it's being used for the caution stripes at the exhaust end of the tubes. And one thing that I really like is that out of any toy Halo rocket launcher that we've gotten, whether it's from McFarlane or Jazzwares, I have to say this is probably the one that handles the best in the action figure's hands. It's probably also because Thousand Toys has really good articulation for this figure, but Noble 6 can hold this rocket launcher with ease. There's no trying to overextend the arm and potentially breaking the shoulder joints. There's no just awkwardly holding the rocket launcher against the chest of the figure. Noble 6 holds this with ease, as it should be held. And then of course, like the assault rifle, there's a peg on the side, so if you want to mount this bad boy on Noble 6's back, you can do so. So all in all, for an exclusive weapon, I think Jazzwares did such a great job at handling the execution. I have basically no complaints. This is the best toy Halo rocket launcher that we have ever gotten, hands down. And one thing that my dumbass completely forgot to show off is that on the thighs of Noble 6 you can't display any kind of sidearms or smaller weapons. I probably forgot this because there's no sidearms that come with Noble 6 and even Halo Infinite Master Chief. I think the only Thousand Toys Halo figure that comes with a sidearm that's out right now, or that did come out, was Halo Combat Evolved Master Chief, which I unfortunately don't have. I know June comes with a Magnum, but he's not out yet, and honestly by the time I get this video out, he probably will be out, seeing how long this video is taking to make. But yeah, figured I would show off this feature and call myself out for forgetting it. And finally, here we are at the turntable segment of the videos, pretty much where I go over what I like, dislike, pros, cons, strengths, and weaknesses, and just give my general thoughts and opinions, just basically talk about the figure. And in this segment, I like to go over the negatives first, just to get the sour stuff out of the way. And honestly, there's nothing that I really dislike about this figure. I know that like 98% of my videos are me praising whatever I'm reviewing, and this video is definitely not helping me beat those allegations, but I really like what Thousand Toys did with this figure. I think the articulation is great, I think the visuals are amazing, and I think they handled the accessories spectacularly. I guess I can talk about things that people who aren't me might dislike, such as the pegs in the weapons. I'm gonna guess that most people like how Jazzwares and McFarlane handles it, because those methods don't really interrupt the design of the weapons, whereas for Thousand Toys, the peg is always on the weapon, and even when you fold it down, it still kind of interrupts the design of the weapon. But I think it's good enough, or like discreet enough, to where it doesn't bother me personally. And also, I just like having the peg there at all times, because I feel like, especially for how McFarlane did it, you can lose those pegs very easily, and with how Thousand Toys handles it, you can't really lose the pegs at all unless you legit cut off the pegs. But honestly, I want to hear your opinions in the comment section below. Tell me how you feel about Thousand Toys' way of handling the weapons and weapon pegs, and if you think there was a better way they could have done it. And the only other thing I can see people really disliking about this figure is the price, because no matter how you cut it, $200 is a lot of money unless you are a millionaire or an out of touch person. But $200 is a lot of money for an action figure. I'm fortunate enough to have a situation where I can afford these figures. Not that I'm rich or rolling in dough or anything like that. Trust me, I'm not. But I am fortunate enough to be able to afford this figure and the rest of Noble Team as they come out. And that's going to be a lot of money no matter what. So pray for my wallet. But I can see $200 turning away a good chunk of people, because not everyone just has $200 to buy an action figure with, and this is a good action figure. The quality is definitely there, but $200 is $200, so I get it. And I don't know if I need to really go into the positives, seeing that I kind of did that throughout the entire video, but the figure feels amazing. The articulation is very fluid. Nothing feels too tight or loose. As far as the visuals, they are spectacular. I love the exclusive edition visor. It is nice and glossy. The sculpt work is phenomenal. Thousand Toys really nailed down every little thing that they could. And you can go back and forth about the factory new versus wanting a more grittier look, but I think Noble 6 looking factory new doesn't make or break the figure, because at the end of the day, I still believe this figure looks amazing. And then of course the features and accessories that accompany this figure are great. The thigh armor that's able to move with the torso and the legs so it doesn't hinder their articulation is so well thought out. I love the swappable hands. It allows for different poses and gestures, and you know, it just gives you a little bit more spice when displaying your figure on your shelf. And then the weapons that are included are great. They look amazing and they don't feel like they're too flimsy or brittle. And you know, the pegs, I don't mind them, so I'm not gonna go over that tangent again. But I love how they handled the whole weapons mounting on the back. I just think everything was well thought out, and I can't praise this figure enough. I've been doing it for a good while now. But yeah, I think that's all I gotta say. If I start saying any more, I'm just gonna start repeating myself. I think I've milked this figure for as much as I possibly could. So with all that said, if you have this figure, please tell me how you feel about it. Do you like it or do you dislike it? And if you're on the fence about getting this figure, I highly recommend pushing yourself over that fence and getting it. Granted, again, $200 is a lot of money, so if you're willing to dish out that kind of dough, go for it. Hopefully you can find someone or somewhere that is selling it for a reasonable price, because this figure is hard to come by. And one parting message I want to drop on all of y'all before we do the whole generic outro spiel is that I'm sorry if this video did not feel 100%. The last 3 videos that I did felt very 100%, if not close to it, because I was on vacation. I'm currently back with my busy life, and I'm still trying to figure out balancing making YouTube videos and balancing that busy life. And there's just some days where I come home and I'm exhausted and I don't even feel like working on videos, hence why this video took as long as it did to even get out. But there were some days where I tried sucking it up, and despite being burnt out, trying to put some kind of effort into the video. So if some segments of this video don't feel 100%, I am super sorry. I'm trying to balance the whole work and YouTube life. It's not exactly as easy as I thought it would be, but after that, I do hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, a like and a subscription would be greatly appreciated. If you want to bounce off anything I did say during the video, you are more than welcome then to go down into the comment section and leave yo comment. If you don't want to move yo little fingers around, I get it, it's a lot of effort, but I like talking about this stuff, so go for it. And don't worry about the bell, we both know that shit is broken. And if you want to see more content like this, there's plenty of it on the channel. I've reviewed a handful of Jazzwares Halo figures already, so go check that out. And I have other stuff from Star Wars to Warhammer to Alien, Predator, Alien versus Predator. And I do plan on reviewing every Noble Team member for 1,000 Toys, so look forward to that. And with all that said, have a great day and stay hydrated. It's important.